sound of the men.
Get back.
Working on the chain.
One more.
Gang. That's the sound of the men. Working on the chain.
One piece.
Gang. Keep it strong.
Ooh, ah, yeah. Ooh, ah. Oh, don't you know?
That's the sound of the
Get
men.
back.
Working on the chain.
One more.
Gang.
Don't you know?
That's the sound of the men. Working on the chain. Gang.
Can you even say? Ooh, ah, feel good. Ooh, ah, feel good. You know.
Hey, my name's Shannon Snyder. I want to welcome you guys to Five Star Baseball Show, The Truth. I've been doing this for 28 years. Been in travel baseball, been a scout with the Braves and Cincinnati Reds. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about our program and how we can help our community in bettering our baseball. And not only just the baseball atmosphere, but for the travel ball, but high school and our youth program. And I want to introduce you guys to our two youth directors. Chad Grant runs our Columbus program. Our LaGrange program, and Zach Lawrence out of Columbus. He's our youth director in Columbus.
I'm Chad Grant. I'm the youth director here in LaGrange. I'm local of LaGrange. I went to LaGrange High School. Was very fortunate enough to be able to play for Coach Shannon Snyder growing up in the travel ball world and things like that. Learned a loads from him, and I'm very prideful and honored to be able to take the LaGrange youth department and bring up the new generation of baseball players. And then I'll turn it over to Zach Lawrence, who runs our Columbus.
Zach Lawrence, been with Five Star for about 4 years now, run the Columbus youth program. I started with Elite Squad down in South Florida, been coaching high school for a little bit when I was down in Florida. It's definitely a privilege to be able to work for Five Star, one of the top programs in the country. We've done really good things in Columbus. Chad's doing great things in LaGrange, and we're just looking to build something even bigger.
And our goal, not only in the youth, but for our high school program, is to educate, not only play games and work on the baseball skills, but also educate the parents, the players on the ins and outs of recruiting, what pro guys look for, what college guys are looking for. And we're going to have the opportunity this fall to bring in college coaches, JUCOs, D1s, and D2s, so we can ask those guys questions and also educate us as well, because it's always changing. The NCAA rules with the NIL and things like that, things are changing rapidly, and we want to make sure that Five Star Baseball is on top of these things so we can absolutely educate the people and like I said, ourselves as well, so that we have the best opportunity to create opportunities for our young players. And after doing this so long, I feel like our youth, and that's why we have those guys up here today, is our future. And so we're putting a little bit more into our youth. Our high school program is ranked #1 in the country by PG. I don't make the rankings. It's just the way it is. And I just want to, say also, I'm thankful for these guys having them in our program, because they bring a lot of knowledge. And #1, they care about what they do. And that's the biggest thing with me, is they understand the importance of caring for each and every player, because each and every player is an individual.
Yes, sir. So we're a program that's a big picture program. And so if you want to be successful at the high school level and ultimately get guys to the next level, we decided we need to start young. And it's something that was pretty fresh to the program. I think we've probably been doing this 5 or 6 years youth-wise, and we have teams from 7U all the way to 13U. That's what we consider our youth. And like Coach said, we're definitely in the business to educate parents. And a lot of times in the youth, we get parents that are just now dealing with travel ball, just now dealing with trying to get their kids to the next level, trying to develop. So it's a learning curve between us coaches, players, and parents on the correct way to do this thing and to ultimately speed up the process of development and get your kids to the next level. And that's the purpose of this show, is to educate you guys, let you guys know what we do, the importance of the young guys in the program and things like that.
It's definitely a tough business to be in. We notice that it does turn into a revolving door because some parents don't understand what we're actually here to do. A lot of it is about winning, and of course every program wants to win to be successful. But with our youth program, we're teaching a lot more than just winning. We're trying to turn young kids into grown men. And when we do that and we do our job right, it makes his job easier because when you get to the high school level, you don't want to have to go over basic stuff at practice. You want to take the next step and you want to be able to do what you can to win and to get that ranking that we have. That's why we're so successful in what we do.
And one last thing about the show. We're going to be able to bring in the college coaches as well as former five-star players that have played professionally, collegiately, and we're also going to bring in the high school coaches because there's certain things high school coaches want to see and what they're looking for so you can be a varsity player really early in your career, and we want to be able to provide that. And that's why the youth, again, is so important because the transition, we don't want to have people not understanding how to transition from youth sports to high school sports. So high school coaches are going to be able to come in, kind of give us an overview of what they want to see, how they want to, what kind of player they're looking for to help their programs. And they're going to be local guys, and you guys in this area are very fortunate to have really good high school coaches at all the local high schools around this area. So we're going to give those guys an opportunity as well to come on and present how they want their program run and what kind of player they're looking for. And also the parent in that program, you know, how they want the parents to react, you know, not up on, you know, and we'll go about that a little bit later. But our professional guys that have played for us, I'm very, very fortunate with the type teams we've had. I mean, we've had really good players like Coach Chad throughout my career that's made me look a lot better coach than I am. And so what we're going to do is give those guys an opportunity to tell you what it takes for them as an individual to get where they were professionally, and then we're going to bring in our collegiate guys. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this thing, and we look forward to it, and hope you guys get on board and really understand why we're doing this and taking the next step mentally for our players, because this is what this is about. And right now I'm going to hand it over. We're going to bring up some youth players and kind of tell them with Coach Chad about their experience with Five Star. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to have a couple of local high school guys come in and kind of let those guys explain what their summer is like and the sacrifices that they have to make to get to the next level. Hey, this is Shannon Snyder again, back with Five Star Baseball, The Truth. I'm here with a couple of my high school guys. I want to introduce you guys. Kind of ask those guys some questions about our program, the sacrifices they have to make to be a prospect and also help their high school teams and to get to the next level. And here I'm with Grady Westmoreland. Grady is a middle infielder, pitcher at LaGrange High School. He's been in our program since he's been 12 years old. And I want to ask you, Grady, number one, what's one of the best experiences you've had being in our program?
I'd definitely say like playing in the summer, playing in big events. You know, we get to go all over the place, Florida, Hoover, Atlanta, and it really just being a part of a team.
Right.
Playing in the WWA and, you know, getting to be a part of, you know, something bigger than ourselves.
Right. And if you don't get out and play in those events now, you know, we always have a saying that, hey, you never know how ugly or pretty you are till you get your picture taken. And so we get our picture taken a lot. And we play on the highest level you can play at. And Grady is one of our best academic players that we've had in a long time. I want to ask him a little bit about the sacrifices on the studying, things he has to do and things he has to give up so that he can, you know, be recruited by Yale and some of those schools that are higher in academics. And how's that been going?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always known that I wanted to go to school and get a good degree. And so, like, I've really looked to make sure I'm playing baseball and still keeping up with my academics. And
it's very tough, isn't it?
Very. And trying to balance everything.
Right.
and be the best I can be in the classroom as well on the field.
Yeah, and you can't have like a normal high school life on Friday and Saturday, because I always say that, hey, you do the ordinary thing, you get an ordinary result. So you're not an ordinary kid on the field, you're not an ordinary player on the field, you're not an ordinary student in the classroom. So those are type things that we look for, and I know my job, I can see it after all my years, almost 30 years in this business, is the kids that are going to be successful in life, not letting baseball pay for everything, but when you're 30 years old, you have an opportunity to take care of your family. And the guys that sacrifice like yourself to have bigger and better goals academically seem to have that kind of conquered a little bit. And I feel like LaGrange is going to be good this year. You guys are going to be fighting in a new region, and what do you think about the new region?
Yeah, it's exciting to play good teams. With Troop, we'll be in it. There's Mary Persons, Trinity Christian, Whitewater. So there's tons of good players. Play with a bunch of guys from the other schools. So it's exciting to play guys that we meet in the summer or in the fall, and then get to see them play for their high schools.
Well, that five-star bond, that brotherhood you get with us, because G's a rival in high school, but he's in our family. He's your rival, but he's in your family, and we all try to help each other, because at the end of the day, it's about getting you guys to the next level. And going forward with this, people don't realize there's no off season anymore. You got to put your work in. We got guys like G and Grady that really sacrifice every Sunday afternoon to get their 4-on-1 work in. Anything that you can do extra is going to pay off at the end. So we try to put those guys in a situation to put the work in, so that we can make phone calls for them and help them further their education. And you want to go to G. And this is Garrison Edwards, outfielder from Troop High School and a quarterback. So he's a two-way guy, one of the best athletes we have in our program. And I want to talk to him a little bit about being a two-way sports guy. That you probably have no life outside of sports, do you?
Not really.
Not really. So I get it. So it's being a quarterback, and I know a lot of times you have to tell me you can't do stuff because you're on 7-on-7s and things like that, which I support it. I like our two-sport guys. I think it makes you tougher, and mentally tougher and physically tougher. So if you want to talk a little bit about the things like in a typical week for you in the summer, and the things that you can't do that the ordinary player can do, can do.
In the summer, football's like coming off the spring. So, we have things in the morning. We have practices in the morning and 7-on-7, but then also, I need to stay on top of baseball. And, the biggest way to do that is playing these big events, travel tournaments.
Right.
And so I do my best to balance them in the summer so I can benefit from both sports.
Right. And I think it's made you a better athlete. Toughness, because, people coming into our program, some of the football kids sometimes are a little bit softer coming in, then all of a sudden they have that year of football in the weight room, things like that. And then mentally and physically, you come out and you're a lot tougher player. And, bases loaded, 3-2 count, it doesn't bother you, because like last night you played in front of thousands of people, a Troop LaGrange game, and that kind of stuff doesn't bother you, as it would a player that hadn't been in that situation. And, and if you want to talk a little bit too about how academically you have to stay on top of things. I know your mom and dad's not going to let you slip on any of that, and the grades that you have to keep up and maintain, not only to be eligible, but for your own personal goals and the sacrifices you have to make being a two-sport guy.
It is already difficult, having to balance between two sports, but the only way I can really go, take it after high school with those two sports, I have to stay on top of my grades, and that's really important. Every week, every day, after school, I'm studying. At practice, I'm studying. And even on the weekends, SATs, ACTs, right. I have to study for those as well. So. Well,
I know you got a SAT tutoring after this. So, and there again, guys, we talk about the things that college coaches look for and ask me for. You used to go in this order. You used to go, how's the player academically? Can he play? What kind of kid he is? What kind of home life does he have? Now it goes, what kind of parents does he have? Can he play? His grades. And those last two probably neck and neck. But now it's a marriage. You know, a lot of times these college coaches don't understand, although they understand very well, they're not just recruiting the player, they're recruiting the parent, because they got to be married to this guy for 4 years. And they don't want to get phone calls every time little Johnny has a hiccup in class or has a hiccup on the field or doesn't get to play. You know, those guys, and that's why it's very tough, and that's why we started our youth program, is because we want to make sure that tough love doesn't hurt those players, you know, in the future. They're already used to the discipline that they have to be successful at the next level. And I want to thank these guys for coming in on a Saturday morning, especially G, after a tough night last night running around, and then Grady, you're probably off doing some studying or something. I don't know what you're doing. But other than that, guys, I appreciate it, and thanks for your time. Is there anything else you guys would like to say to anyone? No, you good?
Yes, sir.
All right, again, appreciate you guys, and we'll start our winter workouts here in November, okay?
I'm Coach Chad Grant, Youth Director. We're back on here at 5 Star West, The Truth. And I got a couple of my youth players that I'm fortunate enough to be able to have coached for, I think, about 4 years now. If I'm not mistaken, I got you boys when y'all were 9. So a lot has changed since the first time they stepped into the building, stepped on the field with us. A lot of maturity, a lot of growth, a lot of crying, a lot of yelling, a lot of fussing, a lot of butt chewing, right? A lot of praise, a lot of motivation. So things have been a uphill battle with us trying to make this thing something special and something to be proud of. You know, my goals as a youth director is to ultimately do with the guy that I look up to the most, Coach Shannon does. You know, to have a clean program that everybody recognizes, not just in our town, not just in LaGrange, you know, to be a brand of baseball that we can be proud of and that we ultimately can be successful is more than just being good baseball players, but being good men. You know, a lot of times in our profession, we're worried about winning all the time, and we're not worried about creating better gentlemen and better people for the society. And I think, well, I got these two guys on here because they embody that kind of thing. You know, when I first met them guys, some were immature, some had a false sense of reality of things of, you know, how am I really this good, or my parents say I'm this good, you know, what's the truth behind it? So we really got to a point where we're starting to be truthful with ourselves in our game, in our maturing as a young boy to a young man. And the first guy I'll introduce, we'll go with Caleb Favors. Caleb Favors, are you 11 or 12, Caleb?
11.
He's 11. He's a 6th grader at Long Cane. He's a middle infielder in our program. Shortstop, second base. He's a utility guy as well. Can play third if we need him to. Can play outfield if we need him to. He's a guy that's been in and out the lineup at different spots. I think you've been batting leadoff before. Probably also done batted in that bottom of the order before, you know. So I'm gonna turn it over to him and let him explain or introduce himself a little bit.
Hello, I'm Caleb Favors, and I'm from LaGrange, Georgia. I go to Long Cane Middle, as Coach Shad said, and passing the microphone to Chipper.
I live in LaGrange, Georgia. I also play for Coach Chad, and I also go to Long Cane Middle School. All
right, and Chipper's he's a jack of all trades kind of guy. You know, in sports, that means this guy doesn't really have a bubble of what only he can do. He can catch, he can pitch, he can play anywhere in the outfield. He's batted leadoff for us, 2-hole, 3-hole, maybe even 4-hole before. So he's one of our guys that brings the energy. You know, I always make fun of him and call him Coach Chipper because he thinks he's a coach on that field. You know, if we got a player that's not doing nothing, not doing what they're supposed to do, Chipper takes it upon himself to tell them, hey, that's not what Coach Chad wants us to do. That's not the ideal way that we're going to go about things. And I'm really pleased and happy to be able to coach you. And this past weekend, I noticed when you weren't there, a lot of those things that you can do, that you do to help us, I didn't know that's how much value you bring to the team. Your energy, your ability to tell one of your best friends or buddies, hey, this is not how we do things. So I really appreciate that from you. So if you get the mic back to Caleb. So Caleb, tell me something you've learned by being at 5-star.
The thing, there's many things that I have learned at 5-star. Like, first when I started, it was like I had no hard work in me, and it took me a lot to learn about my mental, and yeah.
Pretty good.
One thing what Coach Chad has taught all of us, that being young men and also being good baseball players. And not only that, he teaches how we'll be respectful to our parents and everybody else.
Let me ask you this, Caleb. Is it easy playing for 5-star?
No, sir.
What's some of the difficulties it is by being a 5-star player?
Running, like, it's like running and like, what's that one drill that we gotta do from third all the way to second, like for infielders?
Oh yeah, little hands out drills.
Yes, we'll do probably like 8 of those and then 8 sideways, and
Does that burn you?
it burns, but hey, it's hard work. You gotta work hard to be the best.
Yep. So it's always a purpose to why we're doing what we're doing. You know, it's a little condition involved. It's a little muscle memory involved, trying to teach you the correct way to field the baseball and to how to learn how to play low. You know, I was a football guy too, but a long time ago. And one thing I always remember our coach say, keep that pad level down. And that's one thing I think about infielders. We got to stay low, keep our butt down, and that's one of the reasons why we do that. And like Coach Shannon says all the time, it ain't easy being good, right?
Yes, sir.
Chipper, will you tell them kind of about how we started off and we weren't very good and kind of how we progressed?
See, when we first started off, we were all 9 years old. I was 8. We were not good. I remember our first tournament, we were winning 7-0, and we came in and lost 10-7. It's really hard. It's been a long journey with Coach Chad and my whole entire teammates and a lot of buddies. I had to like zone out, and it's just not hard to play for 5-star, but it's also fun at the same time.
Tell me what's fun about it.
It's fun when you go out there, have fun playing baseball, doing baseball right, then going out there and winning championships, making it to higher levels.
So since you said we start off at 9, and you've only played with 5-star travel ball, correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, how many rings have you accumulated since playing with us?
To be exact, I'm pretty sure I have 30 rings.
30 rings.
They may be not all gold, but the thing is, we made it there and we worked on. And if we didn't win the championship, well, at practice we did pay for it. Then we worked on it, but we did wrong.
Yep. So that tells you the amount of or increase that we got better, because in 9 years, I don't know if we ever won a ring. So then from 10, 11, and now we just started 12 this year, that's about 30 rings. So if you do the math, that's pretty solid in the boys executing, getting better over time. You know, and they've learned a lot from me and coaches and everything else, but I've also learned a lot from these guys. I learned how to be a better man. I've learned how to control my anger better. I've learned how to deal with adversity. You know, I've learned how to understand you are young boys, you know, and just because we've been exposed to clean, great baseball, you know, y'all guys are still young. And I struggle with trying to keep it age appropriate. And so that's one thing I'm learning to do. And I appreciate you guys helping me learn as a 33-year-old coach. So y'all appreciate me, but I appreciate you way more. And I love you boys. And these are only just 2 of our 80 or 90 guys that we have in LaGrange. And Coach Zach in Columbus, he has another 80 or 90 youth guys. And so in our town, we stretch from kids that play at all the elementary schools, Long Cane Elementary, Hollis Hand, Ethel Kite, Franklin Forest, Hillcrest, all those schools, and I apologize if I forgot a couple. Then all the middle schools and all the high schools are all represented through us. So this is definitely bigger than baseball. We're down for the community, you know, and that's one reason why we're on podcast, is to educate everybody of what our purpose is. And our purpose is to get to these young men through a game of baseball. We all speak the same language, and that's baseball. And so if we can make you better men because we all love baseball, that's why we're doing it. And again, I appreciate you boys, and y'all mean the world to me. Y'all want to add anything?
I have nothing to add. You just covered it all.
Yes, sir.